Welcome to the ATP Project. You're with your hosts, Steve and Jeff. G'day, mate.
How are you?
We've changed sides. It's kind of like sleeping on one side of the bed and then your wife going, hey, I want to sleep on that side. Something doesn't feel right.
No, I'm just looking at kangaroos out there. They're distracting. So
anyhow.
Got to focus. Podcast time.
Meal replacement, Steve.
Yeah.
Big topic. Now, it's funny. A lot of people think that they are meal replacement. Do I want to know about this? But they're one of the most utilized supplements globally. And there are rules and regulations around what is a meal replacement and what is not. And the typical breakdown of a meal replacement, typically most people would say, well, what's in one? We know that we've got protein.
Yep.
We know that there's carbohydrates. Most oftentimes now people are putting in synthetic vitamins. And in fact, I believe in Australia, for you to be calling a product a meal replacement, it must contain synthetic vitamins.
Yep, it has a certain amount of protein, certain amount of fats, certain amount of calories, certain amount of multivitamins. So they do add synthetic multivitamins. I've got 3 here that we can talk about, or we can talk about the results, sort of depending on which way you want to go.
Well, I'm interested, Steve. And again, people ask, what do you do in terms of, I like not to know. Steve goes out there and has a bit of a conversation, and then I just throw in my 2 cents into the hat, right? But meal replacements, people go, well, why should I care about meal replacements? More and more people are using them. They're extremely convenient.
Yep.
A lot of people use them for fat loss campaigns. They're marketed through a lot of pharmacies and things like that. And there's some good. There's some bad, and there's some ugly.
There is.
So
it's really interesting. Now, why they should know about it is because I'll give you the first thing. The good is that they work to lose weight.
Well, anything where you're structured in your calorie control, because this really is, and probably right down the middle of the line for if it fits your macros. Now, again, we always say make it fit your macros, but in terms of convenience in today's society, we understand that sometimes people need some structure and some help, and these things are very good at giving people macro control.
They are. I mean, look, there's a major systemic review, a meta-analysis, the effective and meal replacement for weight loss. Now, I've picked on weight loss because that's what most people do meal replacements for. Yeah,
it's interesting, though. I've got a caveat for that, but anyway, keep going.
Some convenience and price and all that. But I picked this one. And basically what they did after a year, and this is a meta-analysis, so it's lots of different studies, was that after 1 year of either going on meal replacement, either 1 or 2 meals a day, or dietary advice, the meal replacement group lost over 6 kilograms more weight at the end of the year.
Makes sense. And
I know.
It's pretty easy to understand why, Steve.
Yes.
Because you know what? People just want, tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Yep.
Give me a system, give me a package, give me an ability, give me what I need and I'll just do that. How many people do you hear when they go out to nutritionists and just tell me what to do and I'll just give me the plan and I'll follow the plan.
I know.
And we always say as well too, if you've got a good personal trainer or a good nutritionist or dietitian, if they give you a plan, trust that plan and stick to it.
Exactly. And so I mean, this works. I mean, I don't like to admit that because I don't like meal replacements.
Well, put it this way. You can look at things from a top level and you can go, did it work? Yes. Steve, would you like to lose 1 kilo right now, 1 kilo of body weight, would you?
Body fat,
Nah, devil's in the detail. I can slice off your arm at the elbow. You'll survive so long as I tourniquet it. But that would be about 1 kilo right there, Steve.
Well, my forearms are massive, of course, so maybe 1.5 kilos.
Maybe. No. But you know what I mean? Like in terms of and that's the thing, right? So you can look at it and you need to judge this from a multifaceted point of view. So, all right, what else? Is there anything else that's good, Steve, that you want to cover?
There was another systemic review that basically confirmed the same thing. And what they did with this one was this is another systemic review meta-analysis trial, and what they found with this one was that that the meal replacement diet was superior to the effective food-based education low energy diet. So even at a low energy diet, like okay, cut your calories and all that sort of thing.
VLCD, you're talking about very low calorie diet, which typically you're sort of aiming 1,000 calories or less a day.
Yep. Up to 1,200. So 12,000, mate.
Yeah, 1,200. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
So
is 1,200 considered as part of the VLCD?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In this particular study, so they looked at all these studies on this, and it did show that the meal replacement was more effective for weight loss. And it's like I went, damn,
because it's portion control, Steve.
It is, and also convenience. It's like let's say you're compliant. You say, okay, have a scoop of this and that's it. Put it in water and shake it. It's so simple.
Well, then you're not worrying about going out for lunch. You're not in the morning getting up. What have I got to do? Do I have to measure that, weigh that? It is extremely convenient.
and cheap.
So far we're talking about the pros.
Here we are. There's some cons coming. Don't worry.
Yeah.
If you stop this podcast now and go, oh, he reckons they're great, and you're misrepresenting me, because I've got some other things coming up a bit later.
All right, well, let's keep going with the good stuff.
All right, with the good stuff. All right, now there's a lot of attitudes with health professionals towards these things. So even though we've got 2 meta-analyses here showing they work, so there's no question they work for weight loss, okay? Only 7% of health professionals recommend them.
Okay, what are the major reasons why they don't? So are we getting it? So is there anything more on the positives? Because if we're going to switch over into the negative. There's some that are actually not too bad, and there's some that are really bad. So there's some that are actually not too unhealthy. Yeah, well, I guess some of the things that I'd immediately say as well, of course, you're more than just your macros, so what's in them. Yeah. We just had a little snippet before. I'm not sure if you follow us on Insta and on Facebook, and Matt puts up some little things there, but the new study that came out showing the sweeteners that are used. Now, typically, you would imagine that something with a meal replacement by definition must have a certain percentage of carbohydrates.
Yeah, they do.
But some of them may use artificial sweeteners and or colours and other compounds, Steve.
They do. They order some. There's some bad stuff in it. There was one that I found that didn't have a artificial sweetener in it, I should say.
I still find it fascinating why you need an artificial sweetener.
Yeah.
If, because I mean, again, you can, anyway. Maybe it's to try and keep the calorie or the sugar content low, but I find the sugar content in most of these things is through the roof.
Well, there's one that's really through the roof, actually.
So then why would you use sugar and an artificial sweetener, Steve? I don't get it.
Well, there's not in one that they do, and I won't mention its name.
No, you can't.
It has, and I'm just going to go percentages here. It has 31.9% sugar, according to their website.
And this is designed effectively, if the target marketing, this is a slim and tone,
very much
sort of
That's
product.
Exactly what this is marketed for.
Right.
It's got the multivitamin in it, and this is some of the bad, and it's got sweetener 955 sucralose.
So I'll tell you a story. I think now's a good time to gather around, children.
Go for
it. When I used to run the supplement den, I had a mass gainer. I probably shouldn't mention the name of it, but it was a popular bodybuilding brand, and it was reasonable. I didn't know what I knew now, so I probably couldn't tell you if it had artificial colors or sweeteners in there. But I remember going through and looking at the ratio of carbohydrates to protein and sugar content. And it was, I believe it was a 60-40, so 40%, so per 100 grams, not that you'd have 100 grams, but 40 grams of protein. Protein, I think, was reasonable, but we'll get into that in a minute as well too. But it was 60% carbohydrates, but those carbohydrates, around about 25% was sugars.
15 grams of sugar about?
Somebody bought in and if I mention the name here, especially in Australia, unless you've been living under a rock or don't know it, one of the most popular meal replacement in a sachet, huge brand. I pulled off the mass gainer, designed for blokes to improve, increase muscle mass. The reason why guys take a mass gainer typically is if they have trouble putting on weight, because they're normally not getting enough calories, and the body oxidizes the protein through a process called glyconeogenesis, where it will use that for energy and instead of building muscle tissue with it. So typically guys that are leaner or skinnier or training extremely heavily need to consume more carbohydrates to use as fuel so that the protein can be used to build muscle. Very simply.
Right? Very simple.
The mass gainer that I was selling to a lot of guys, cyclists and other things like that as well too, to maintain body composition, lean muscle tissue, was lower in sugar and higher in protein than what the popular weight loss product was.
Oh no.
And this popular weight loss product was a heap of, I call it a HOS. Heap of something.
Oh, yes.
And the S didn't send, heap of sugar.
Yeah, that's it.
It was, right.
That's what you mean exactly.
So
it's probably this one.
The caliber of the protein as well too was absolutely rubbish, because what they use is they use things like milk solids, which is effectively skim milk powder, extremely high in lactose, very low in the amino acid quality as well too. So it was just a train wreck, Steve.
Now this one's probably the most popular meal replacement I'm talking about, with the 31.9 or just say 32% sugar.
Yeah.
And you talk about milk solids as being a bad protein. I've got a worse one for you.
Worse than milk solids?
Worse than milk solids. You won't believe this. It's the number one ingredient in this product, according to their website yesterday.
And see, this is where the devil's in the detail, because people will just look at the carbohydrate content. Mind you, the first red flag should be, sorry, Steve, before you get there to steal your thunder, the first red flag should be, number one, how much sugar per 100 grams?
Yep.
Right, well, what is it?
32%.
There you go. This one that I had, which was a mass gainer for bodybuilders, for skinny young guys, was 25% sugar, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah.
That's 5 teaspoons of sugar. So this is more than 6 teaspoons of sugar.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
That's per 100 grams.
All right, so what is the protein then that's worse than... So skim milk powder, milk solids...
Yep. It's got all that too, but that's down the list.
That's the quality ingredients.
Yeah. This one's worse. Think of a protein that's worse. Probably the worst.
Cricket protein. Cockroach milk protein.
It's a protein that's
probably worse.
That naturopaths hate, that most people try and avoid.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You triggered me now.
Yep.
So this protein, before we mention it, is it's put in there because it's considered to improve satiety. That's the number one reason, because they say it's a large bundle of amino acids, which effectively needs lots of cleaving of amino acids to get them down to tripeptides. Unfortunately, this protein also, and this is the big one, and thank you, Steve, crosses the blood-brain barrier. And Steve, I would say it is your most hated form of protein. And look, the funny thing is that soy protein gets really, really flogged out, but this is, I would say, just straight casein.
No, it's worse. It's one worse than casein.
Caseinate.
No.
What?
Gluten. Or wheat protein. You won't believe it. Look, that's the number one ingredient. You can see that.
Steve.
It's gluten.
I wouldn't even... So, Tony and I have got friends of ours, right? They're creating they're Italian. Well, one's Italian, one's Greek. Yeah. They're creating a new wood-fired pizza place. Now, they've brought my son over, Clayton, to try some of their pizza because he's not celiac, but he's the next best thing.
Yep.
We're all trying these. By the way, these pizzas are amazing. I think this is the second time they're going to owe me money. They've created this new base which actually uses rice protein and some other non-gluten sort of flours, right?
Nice.
I hate gluten bases because my son, when we get them, and they're soggy and they're not really nice. This was awesome. What's really funny is that the next day, because we're all trying them, but Clayton ate them no problem at all, right? Really great. And then literally we would know because he'd be on the toilet like a couple of hours later, but it wouldn't be good. She goes the next day, gee, I actually felt really good after eating that. Because even if you're not gluten intolerant, there are things in gluten called zolanins. Now, they sound like they come from Mars or something, like Romulans, like Star Trek, right? But they are extremely inflammatory.
Very.
So even if you're not gluten intolerant, for the most part, unless it's whole, and I think a little bit, Steve, again, I always say this, but I mean, a little bit with seeds and grains and whole grains and milled and blah, blah, blah. You should try and avoid eating too much of it, right? First ingredient there.
First ingredient, wheat protein, in brackets, gluten. Now, I love some of the feedback, and there was 2 people on the website that had feedback. They said, this is a great product for weight loss because when I have a sachet, I don't feel like eating because my stomach hurts a little bit.
Do you remember those rapid weight loss pills that they were selling a few years ago, Steve?
Yeah, I know.
Do you remember what was in them?
Yeah, there were bloody worms in them.
No, they had
parasites.
E. coli.
Oh, E. coli.
Rapid weight loss.
Very rapid.
Dysentery.
Yep.
I mean, just think of the purging that would happening where, you'd nearly be dying, but hey, you'd lose 4 or 5 kilos in a couple of days.
Well, this one, I've got a study on this actually later. I've got to talk to you, but you'll love it. So wheat protein or gluten is the number 1 ingredient. Number 2, shock, sugar. Yep. Number 3, is milk proteins.
Okay, there you go.
So there's all the bad proteins.
So, I mean, here I am talking about casein, thinking it's the devil, which you hate, Steve.
Yep,
and it's true, it does cross the blood-brain. But we're describing gluten.
Yep. That's the number one ingredient.
On your hierarchy, Steve, of evil protein, Dr. Evil, evil proteins.
Yeah. Gluten's the top.
Gluten would be the worst, right?
It's the worst one, I think.
And mind you, Steve, and again, let's just clear your bias here,
yes, okay.
because, I mean, you had AS and you feel that was a major contributor.
Oh, yeah.
But we're talking about zonulins, and if you're not sure what we're talking about, Google zonulins and actually have a look at what they do in the gut. They're pro-inflammatory. It's not good. So under that, Steve, next one.
Sugar.
Milk but in
protein.
terms of protein is concerned,
milk protein.
Would you put milk protein or casein? Which would be worse?
Well, casein's part of milk protein, but gluten I think is worse than all of them. I really think that's the worst protein.
Okay.
But milk protein does have casein.
Yeah.
This one also contains refined soybean oil, glucose syrups, milk protein, and an artificial emulsifier. Now, if I give you the brand for this, and I won't disclose this to the camera, you would definitely have heard of this one. It's one of the most popular ones. I'll show you the title of it. Like, that's a pretty common one.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, that's...
But what's interesting about that, sorry for people who are frustrated and going, damn it, what is it? We can't. It's just not worth it. I mean, look, the thing is, though, Steve, we probably could, but we just don't want to go there. No. But I think in terms of... In terms of everything that you're mentioning about, again, for people that listen to this podcast where we believe that nature knows best, this is pretty horrible.
Oh.
And again, it's refined.
Yes.
As I said before, Steve and I, we differ a little bit on milk and pasteurized, homogenized and all that sort of stuff, Steve. And certainly I've gone a lot away from it now. Like I use, almond or don't use any at all.
Sure.
But I'll use a little bit, whereas you won't even touch it, right? So,
not milk.
But this is a frankenfood. This is an abomination of nature.
and have a guess what it's sweetened with. All that sugar.
I would imagine. I don't think they'd use Ace K. I just don't think they'd go there. I reckon they'd use. I reckon they might use aspartame.
Yeah.
But I would have guessed they probably use sucralose.
Correct, sucralose.
Yeah.
So after
because there's enough sugar in there, they probably don't. I'm just thinking of how it would round out the flavour.
Yeah.
But yeah, which is of the three bad evil musketeers.
Yeah.
Like it's probably the least bad one. But
we just talked about it with heart disease, and it's probably it's
the least bad, but it's still bad.
It's the least bad.
What's that saying? What's the problem of choosing the lesser of three evils? You're still choosing evil.
Well, you are. I mean, so there's that ingredient. Now I can go. There was a study using a similar product to that, just a different sort of brand name to that, and they lose weight. So works. But there's a list of side effects here. Now, I'll hold the side effects up. All the highlights, the side effects.
Are you serious?
Yep, they're all the side effects that were significant over a normal food-based program.
So a comparable like-for-like product to the one that we've just been talking about? It
wasn't a product. They just used foods that match your calories. And they said, what side effects do you have? So do you want me to list some of the side effects you get with using a product like this?
Sorry, I'm just a little bit... Okay, so this is a meal replacement product you're talking about?
Yeah, they compared a meal replacement, this one we talked about, very similar one, to a food-based program.
Okay? Well, food's got to win out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we know that.
But we know that this actually lost more weight.
Yeah, but again, weight is not always a good thing, right?
Correct. You know what one of the side effects for this was?
Of the meal replacement? The meal replacement shake, yeah. What?
And it occurred 5 times more than the placebo or the food-based thing. Alopecia, baldness.
Why, Steve? You're preaching to the converted. Yeah. I mean, not that I'd use it, but why? What on earth?
Because they were malnourished.
Now, was this typically in females? Because female alopecia has a lot to do with nutrition, right?
It is. This is mainly females, this group.
And I would imagine that mainly females, these products would not completely, but mainly be targeted towards females.
Correct. This one was mainly females. So, it was actually quite interesting.
It would be interesting.
82% were female.
It would be really interesting to see because, I mean, there's a few products out there, especially in Australia as well too.
Yep.
And I don't know. I haven't looked at the panel. But they've been promoted very heavily towards men and female for losing weight.
Yeah, that's coming up later.
I haven't even looked at it. Do you know why? Because the information that I'm going on was based on when I was selling other people's supplements over a decade ago.
Yep.
But I can tell you why companies do it. Because they can spend a crap ton more on marketing. I mean, the funny thing is this kind of is our marketing more about giving away information, about being, if you like, educated, and because we believe nature knows best in using the highest quality ingredients.
Yeah.
The difference is that making something like this is literally costing us half the cost of what it would cost us to make it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we would only use high quality ingredients.
Absolutely.
But so it makes sense, right?
Yeah. I mean, also
create something that's crap and then market the hell out of it like it's brilliant.
Absolutely. And just under 20% of people were constipated.
What?
Because it's just lack of fiber, real fiber.
Yep.
But also over 10% of them had diarrhea. So it kind of balances.
Well, that makes sense from the gluten.
Yeah.
And maybe those that are a little bit more sensitive to it. Like, again, we talk about people's microbiome, and some people have got a cast iron gut and other people are a little more sensitive.
Yep.
So obviously those that are a little bit more sensitive, but I mean, still, that's pretty significant.
Oh, also 17% got headaches from it, from this product.
Yeah.
Compared to 4% in the food-based group.
Theorization of the headache, Steve, was it from the inflammation from the zonulins?
Yeah, from the gluten probably. And there's so many things in there that can cause it. Artificial sweeteners.
Yeah.
Even the LDL cholesterol went up almost 10% in 10% of people.
Okay, and that's the bad one.
Bad cholesterol.
Yeah.
Bad. But liver damage occurred in 10% of people.
I find this hard to believe. Why liver damage, Steve? I mean, typically we're talking about liver, right? Yeah. So they're throwing a spanner into the works.
Gluten damages the liver.
So, gluten has that. Okay.
Because leaky gut damages liver. But also they had twice as many infections. So their
immune system's dropping.
Yeah.
And is that because they've got leaky gut and the body's immune system is trying to deal with that?
And they may be malnourished of all the polyphenols that aren't in packet food. Just nutritionally.
So were people switching out more than just one meal a day with this stuff?
This was just one meal a day, this one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people that go into VLCDs who effectively eat 3 of these sachets a day.
Yep.
Which is horrendous.
Yep. And you know what the conclusion was after all this?
Stop it.
No.
Oh.
The conclusion was that this multi-center trial demonstrated that this intervention is more effective than traditional foods.
You know what? It comes down to what you want to find. And this is where we talk about the abstract, right? I mean, you can look at it and you can go, let's just target in on weight loss.
Yep.
As opposed to the systemic health effect.
It's just that was the sickness. You know what I mean? Now, I have to disclose something here in the paper.
Okay.
It was funded by the company that made that particular product.
Okay, no,
you're shocked, aren't you?
No, well, no wonder the focus is on the one aspect.
Yep.
Well,
I'll read the conclusion. It says, compared with food, this product was more effective with greater sustained weight loss. Full stop. That's all they concluded from this trial. Not with significant side effects, which I would say is significant. Like all those percentages I gave you.
I reckon I could beat that one. I reckon if we just gave people crushed up razor blades. Because, they'd lose heaps of weight.
Absolutely. Hey, that'd be, hang on. Write that down. Yeah. So
get shredded.
Yep. I know. It's shredded.
That should be in marketing.
I mean, can you believe this sort of stuff?
Yeah, I can actually, Steve. All day, every day. And again, I think this is because the premise is that food is no longer medicine. I mean, here we are talking about food as medicine all the way through, right? Everything that we do, natural, we don't use artificial colors or flavors or preservatives. Look, and we understand as well too that at the end of the day, you can't be perfect all of the time, but as much as you possibly can. Whereas when you've got yellow cake, when you've got, low quality, it's systemic, right? I mean, and it's,
it is.
I don't really know how to articulate myself properly, Steve, and that's probably part of the problem is that it's just hard to sort of talk about it.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's so pervasive in our not in our industry, but just in our countries, right?
It's absolutely crazy, but that's what I found was the worst of the meal replacements.
Right.
Okay. I've got the best of the meal replacements here that I thought.
Well, if I was
not great.
If I was going to create a meal replacement, for a start, I wouldn't have any and again, Steve, and this is a high bar, so not necessarily for everyone, but I would make sure that I've got I wouldn't have any dairy. I would mitigate gluten as well too. Certainly not having any of those sort of things. I'd have a high quality protein, in there. I wouldn't be using synthetic vitamins. I wouldn't be using artificial sweeteners or colors.
Yep.
But anyway, Steve, what else?
Well, this one is a bet. As a not great, but this is the best one I found of meal replacements.
Okay.
First ingredient is a protein blend of milk protein isolate and whey protein isolate.
Okay.
So no gluten.
So better quality. I mean, look, at the end of the day, people go, you bash whey. Well, we just think there's a better option.
There is.
But yeah, okay. That sounds right.
Then you've got the second most abundant ingredient, like sugar was the other one. This one's fiber.
That's good.
Maize fiber. So corn fiber.
Yeah.
Then you've got natural thickeners like gums and xanthan gums and maize starch. Then you've got flavors like, depending on the flavor, there's coffee or coca. And then they add an oil into it of medium chain triglycerides.
MCTs, don't mind them. Yeah, good energy source. Yeah.
And then they add a flour, sweet potato flour.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. And then you've got the minerals and vitamins. Unfortunately, it's still sweetened with sucralose.
Yeah, no, they find it hard to get away from, because this is what they're trying to do, is they're trying to provide something for fat loss.
Yep.
Obviously, this is a bit smarter, this company, and they don't want to use sucralose or honey or agave powder or anything else that you could put. I mean, even use thaumatin or go for stevia. Now, I know a lot of people don't like stevia, but there are other non-nutritive sweeteners you could use.
Stevia tastes better than what it used to when I was
because they've got rid of the rubicide A or B or whatever. I forget.
One of them. Yeah. But the macro breakdown is pretty good for this. It's 54% protein.
Yeah.
It's got 13% fiber. It's 20% carbohydrate. And the sugars in it are about 9%.
Still a bit high on the sugar, Steve.
Yeah, I agree.
Are you allowed to call that a meal replacement if the carbohydrate content is so low?
You are. They can, because they do, and it's classified as a meal replacement.
Okay. I mean, I thought there's certain guidelines in terms of what
pretty common one again. Like, you would have heard of that one.
I have. Actually, I'm reasonably impressed. I mean, like, I was expecting actually worse from that company. So good on them.
Good on them.
Yep. I mean, again, not to ATP standard.
No.
But for a mass sort of sold product, better than what I thought.
I know.
Okay.
I know. And I've got an honourable mention here, because you thought the other one had a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
This one's got more.
Oh, how much?
Per serve.
Yeah.
23.4 grams of sugar per serve. The other one was per serve. 100. Yeah. So
what's the serve size?
The serve size for this one was 50, so you double that.
Holy cow.
So it's almost 50% sugar. Almost.
What?
Now, the reason why this.
That?
Well,
show me.
You may or may not have heard of that one.
I have.
You can get it from supermarket
usual
chain.
suspects.
Can we say the supermarket chain?
Yeah.
No. So it's a cheap one, though.
Yeah.
And their marketing line is, when the taste of salad has got you salivating for something sweet, then you may want to consider this product.
Well, at least they're not lying. Something sweet. Yeah. Diabetes in a cup.
Oh, it's a shocker.
It is a shocker.
Shocker. So, but apparently tastes great.
So do Mars bars.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not taking them for dieting, though.
They do. Everyone go, I'm not into Mars bars, but people love them.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to.
I actually prefer Morrow bars.
Morrow bars?
They're made by Cadbury. They're in New Zealand. They're maltier, and they're not quite as sweet.
I like the malt sort of, yeah. So there's some, you got to be careful if you want to get especially that first one we talked about. Now, as you said, you would have heard of that one, and it's in lots and lots of places around the place.
Yeah, by far the biggest probably seller I'd say in that category.
And that is horrific. But there's some good news, and then there's some bad news. Let's get on to some of the. Well, I don't know. This is an interesting study. This was published in Nutrients 2021, where they took women who were planning on becoming pregnant. And as you know, being overweight during pregnancy is not a healthy start. You need to be a healthy weight. Otherwise, baby can have complications. Okay? So what they did with this study was very interesting. That they tried them on our meal replacements.
Not ours.
Not ours. No.
Sorry. Let's just reframe that. Those common ones out in the marketplace.
Common ones in the marketplace. Now, this was a single site randomized controlled trial, so it was a pretty good trial.
Yep.
And they just gave them meal replacements, and I won't go into the brand of it.
No, okay.
Because
all secret squirrel.
Yeah, it's secret. I have to secret squirrel this one.
Fair enough.
It's got some problems with it.
Okay.
But anyway, what they found, and I'll cut right to the chase, was that if you're on the meal replacement, you lose more weight than the food one. Okay, so that's sort of like, oh well. You might think that's...
Again, similar to the other study, right?
Yeah, similar to the other study.
I mean, if you're just focusing on that, okay.
Yeah, this is what surprised me. Okay, so the difference was I lost 5.4 kilos on this one and 2.3 on a conventional dietary.
Over 12 months?
Yes.
Yep.
So basically, it was all good.
Yep.
Now what they found was that women assigned a meal replacement intervention was more likely to achieve pregnancy within 12 months of the 10-week intervention compared to the women assigned the meal replacement intervention.
So the women that were eating real food as opposed to the shake. Okay.
Yeah.
So they were more likely to get pregnant, the ones that were eating food. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
And the conclusion is why?
Well, I think, and this is
your
because
conclusion.
they didn't say.
Yeah.
But they probably the nutrient levels were much higher, like pregnancy folate or something like that is in foliage, which is plant foods.
Yep.
Which is what you eat when you eat real foods. This one was out of packet. It doesn't have. I mean, it probably has a bad form of folate in it.
Right. Artificial ones, synthetic.
Yeah. Yep. So you lose more weight, but you don't achieve as good of pregnancies. And I'd never heard of this meal replacement program. So this is a weird one.
Can I have a look?
Yeah. I'd never heard of it. Might be a hospital-based one.
No.
That's what I'm thinking it is.
Yep.
So it's not one of the ones we talked about. This is an Australian study.
Okay.
So, very, very interesting. You know what I mean? So, it was a bit of an interesting study, this one, because I thought, wow, that's interesting. So you lose more weight. You get better. No question about it on meal replacements. But the problem with that is you have side effects. And remember those side effects listed before, that can affect pregnancies.
Yeah.
So you got to be a bit cautious about that. Now, here's the solution. Let's say you want to go on a meal replacement program. Okay, I wouldn't want it. I want you to eat healthy. I want you to exercise.
Do you know, I was just thinking about that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if I was going to create a meal replacement, it would be freaking expensive for a start.
Yeah.
Because it would probably be it would cost you probably about $5 a shake, because you'd get, and it depends on who the target market is, but let's say it's predominantly females. The protein in there is to maintain and support lean muscle tissue, not sort of build muscle tissue, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So, I'd be going for probably 20 grams of protein. I would be using low GI carbohydrates. I'd be throwing in a whack ton of polyphenols, probably natural vitamin sources as well too. Maybe some chromium or something like that as well too. All natural though.
Yep.
There'd be no artificial. It would cost a fair bit. I don't know if it would be viable, right?
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean. Like because if you're going to replace a meal.
Yeah.
And again, as we say, it's not even something I'd say you take one sachet every day.
Yeah.
Because as we say, Steve, variety is the spice of life, right? So the problem is you get into one. Unless you created like a system where you had like, 5 of them and they had different compounds in them. That would be kind of cool.
It could work. I mean, the trick with the meal replacements, and they've done surveys on this, and what they found was that people are willing to spend a little bit of money on it because they compare it to the price of a meal. Now, a price of a meal.
But these things, Steve, they're horseshit. I mean, excuse the language, but I mean, they are the other one that we're looking at, mate. I reckon per serve, that would be costing cents.
Yeah.
Whereas the one I'm thinking of, like for us to make it, you're probably looking at like dollars. Yes. Like per shake.
Absolutely. And there is a cheaper solution, which I'll get to at the end of it. But let's create the shake. So 20 grams of protein. Let's say you're a man. you might want 30
I
grams.
am a man. I don't care what you've heard, Steve.
All right, I have heard things.
Who's been talking?
Your wife, Tony.
Yeah.
So let's create this shake. Now one of the shakes, the better of them, had 30 grams of protein. So let's match that.
Look, 30 grams of protein, I think, for the standard, look, it depends what the goal is, Steve. But okay, I could go with that. I mean, again, you're ramping up your cost if you're using a high quality ingredient. Yeah. See, this is where if they're using a milk solid or skim milk powder or gluten, it's costing them it's right down the bottom. So people look at it and go, oh, this one's got 30 grams of protein.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
You know, the cheapest meal replacement I found was $2.40 something, $2.48. Which was the third one I showed you with all that sugar.
Do you know how much some of the synthetic B vitamins are? Well, I added them we're doing some contract manufacturing, and I added them to someone's product. And I'm not having a crack or anything. The B vitamins. Well, you saw it, Steve.
Yes, I did see it.
1 cent.
Yeah.
It cost 1 cent.
Not even, you wouldn't even almost register.
So you look at some of these products out in the marketplace and you're going, oh, they've got this and they've got that and they've got this and they've got that. And you look at the amounts and it's like, but most people don't know. They go, oh. Yeah. How much should be in there? Well, it's in there. I don't know how much, but it looks good.
Yeah.
You could create a laundry list of ingredients that could probably cost you 15 cents.
I know. And did you know one of them has a 5-star health rating?
Oh.
5-star.
You know what? You can rig if you understand what the buttons are to push, right? And I bet your honey's probably like a 1-star, right?
Oh yeah, honey's bad.
Evil. Those
peanut butter,
evil stuff. Evil.
But isn't that amazing that something like that in one of them is, and I won't mention which one, but there was one.
It wasn't the first one, was it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It was the second one I spoke to, which was the better of them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the worst one in the world.
No.
But you can do better.
Yeah.
But you can do better.
Yeah.
But creating it, all right, there's certain rules around it. So you have to have vitamins, but why wouldn't you add natural vitamins? I know
natural vitamins. Steve,
it's all about cost.
Money makes the world go round.
Yeah.
That's why I keep saying to you, mate. You got to shake your money maker.
Absolutely. And what I would do is I would put if I was doing it and I had to...
His rattles, by the way.
I'd put a greens powder in it just to give you some nutrients.
So would I. I guess then you're battling flavour profiles and tastes.
Yes.
So you're getting milk solids, Steve. Let's face it, it's quick.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you put a bit of strawberry in the yummo.
Yep.
And people are so driven by anything, natural. You've got bitter notes to deal with.
Yeah.
As I was saying this before as well too, we're working with natural compounds, Steve, where we're trying to put really healthy stuff in there.
Yeah.
The natural taste of some of these compounds has a bitter note.
Yeah,
so we're putting things like spearmint and other compounds in, which are natural to sort of mask that. It's flipping. I mean, it's high science, right?
Yeah.
And it costs us a fortune. But when you're coming up against products which literally taste like cordial, or like milkshakes, it's difficult.
Well, I know, and it does have those bitter notes. And
I'm not complaining. I mean, it's our pleasure to do it, Steve. I love it, and I get a real kick out of it when we go, oh yeah, we nailed that, right? But it's like. It's the level of difficulty is pretty high.
I mean, we add we can probably say this, that we add natural bitter blockers to some of our products. Yeah, because they're
freaking expensive.
One was $700 and something. Just
a kilo.
Just to enhance the flavor, just to get rid of some of the bitterness.
Yeah.
I mean, because we want compliance. But going back to this meal replacement, the ideal one, you certainly wouldn't have the milk solids in there. You wouldn't use any gluten, of course. But you
in ours.
Yeah.
If we were going to create one, you know what, Steve? Let's do one theoretically on paper and see what it comes out at.
Well, okay. Well,
why don't we?
Yeah. Well, let's.
I mean, we'll sell it. It'll be like a bucket this big, probably cost you $100, but it'd be the best thing since sliced bread.
I don't think the price is as big a factor as you're saying for this product, because a meal replacement.
Yeah.
If a meal costs $10.
Yeah.
Then if your serve costs $5 or $6, you're saving still money if it's a meal replacement.
Well, let me say this as well too. For people that are really busy and on the go, how many people go and eat the same thing every day anyway? You know what I mean?
Uber Eats.
Pardon?
You get away with Uber Eats.
But if you look at it from a practical point of view, because at the end of the day, we understand that we live in a fallen world, Steve. Let's put it that way. That we're not agrarian anymore. We don't take time out and sit down and have our how lovely lunches are anymore. I mean, typically you're right, Steve, for a large percentage of the population that are busy, and I'm not judgmental here at all. I understand, right? Like it's Uber Eats. It's the same thing every day. You know, the variety of vegetables, there might be 2 or 3 if they're lucky.
Yep.
So I understand where, dare I say it, and it's nothing is better than eating fresh, eating local, eating in season, and eating a variety of foods. There's nothing better than that. But Steve, what percentage of the population do you honestly feel does that?
Nobody. Probably zero, unless you're living on a farm somewhere.
I reckon maybe less than 5% of the population. I'm being very generous here. So therefore, if you did create a meal replacement that only used quality ingredients, was all natural, where you fortified it with other compounds potentially that may be missing in the average person's food diet.
Yeah, like a polyphenol mix.
That actually would be interesting. We should run it. So I guarantee you it would come out with a price point that people wouldn't be able to afford it.
I know. I mean, considering that these...
I'm kind of interested now.
Yeah.
We'll do a follow-up to this video. Steve and I will get onto it and have a look. And just forget price. We'll throw that to the side. Yeah. And then we'll just create a wish list and we'll go, righto, here it is. See how we go.
And we won't add all that sugar in there. We won't add any sucrose.
No. Only natural stuff.
Yeah.
All natural. Yep. Has to be good for you. But I guarantee you, if you compared that with some of these other compounds, like, per serve, you'd be looking at over $5.
Yeah.
Per serve. You would.
And the average meal, like I don't know how much Uber Eats is like I don't know how much but they range from around $20. Am I right? Is it? I've never had Uber Eats, honestly. I've always just, I don't know, what's the word? Cooked myself.
Yeah, we just cut that part. But Steve says some very offensive things to me in terms of getting to the kitchen and gets me some eggs.
Yeah,
so, yes, let's say it that way. Okay.
It was something like that.
Yeah.
So but let's create it. And because if people cost $10, $15, $20 a meal and yours is $5 a meal, it's going to save you money, even though it's top quality stuff.
And look, here's the thing as well too, like, we're the manufacturer.
Yep.
And we also work on a relatively small, with some of our products on a pretty low margin as well too. But once you've got multiple hands involved, obviously the cost of these things goes up significantly. So the more direct that you can get the product and or the volume is large enough, which helps you to decrease the price. And that's the balance that you've got to look at. So, but anyway, let's have a look, Steve-O. It's always fun.
Let's do it.
No compromise.
Yeah.
I still laugh at our pre-workout that we created, which literally is, and we've been doing others, probably 50% more expensive than the next nearest one. Oh. And that's based on our cost, let alone,
And flavor costs, because they're all natural.
Yeah.
And colors, like, sweet potato is one of the colors in one of the products. That's natural as you can get.
It's funny, eh?
It is
fun.
Funny.
It's fun. I laugh, and I love the industry that we're in, Steve. Yeah. And again, the funny thing is that we're talking more to the sort of 25 plus, a little bit more educated, who are actually looking for health, not just performance at any cost. And what I mean by that is that I believe our products are excellent, but the difference is that the cost of the ingredients is a little bit more. But you get what you pay for, right?
It is. It's true.
So what else, Steve?
All right. So let's try and compromise with all this. Let's say you need a meal replacement, because that's what the podcast's about.
Sure.
It's like, no, I'm going to eat vegetables. No. All right. Let's say you want a meal replacement.
All right.
There is an alternative, and that is make your own meal replacement.
Sure.
Now, the disadvantage might take you a few seconds longer.
Yeah.
And I'm saying seconds because it's not, but it'll be vastly more healthy.
Okay.
And probably cheaper.
Yep.
So what you simply do is blend up like a smoothie, but you have to do it a certain way.
Sure.
The first thing is that you need minerals. Now, nuts are a very good source of minerals.
Love nuts.
Yeah. So nut milks or anything like that is okay. So make sure that you've got nuts or any sort of nuts or seeds. Okay. Yep. Keep it simple. Flax seeds is very good. So it also
and a lot of people avoid them, Steve, because of the amounts of fats that are in them. Yeah. I love macadamia nuts. I love them, right? And they've actually got really good sources of oil in there. And the other ones that men should eat but don't eat enough of is Brazil nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Whatever nuts you want. And we're going to blend this.
Yep.
So it's going to be nice and nutty flavour, and it's not going to be oily in your mouth or anything like that. Second thing is you've got to add quality protein.
Yep.
Collagen's the best.
Well, this is where we sell a lot of our unflavoured collagen, Steve. So they add that into a greens mix or what have you. And yep.
Now this doesn't have to taste bad, because then you start with your fresh fruits and vegetables. Now, they can be frozen. The fresh is best, but let's be convenient.
Well, and often, Stephen, we've looked at this before as well too. If you're getting high quality snap frozen stuff, some of the ingredients, some of the natural vitamins, minerals, and even polyphenols are there. There is a degradation that does occur with polyphenols and frozen stuff over time, though, isn't
Slightly,
there?
yeah. It does degrade. But I'm trying to have our one meal.
We're trying to be real world people.
Yeah.
Because as I said, again, and this is where possible, at least make one of your meals as just like your dinner time, and you're just, again, snacking on fresh fruit and vegetables through the day where you possibly can.
I'm compromising here because we're trying to compete with the meal replacements. I think we're going to kick these out.
Convenience is really important, as I said. So for the 5%ers that are purists, this podcast is not for you. No. You're eating your food and you're eating everything is great, but for the executive, for the house husband or house mum or what have you, that's really busy, that's crazy for time. This is the next best. Right?
It is, and so you're going to have collagen now. Add the collagen because collagen is great, very low allergenic and very good quality protein.
Unless you're a vegan.
So all right. So we put collagen in now. The reason why I like protein is because it keeps you full longer.
Yep.
And also it stops you losing muscle mass. There's other benefits, essential amino acids.
And especially if you look at body balance. I mean, again, if we look at the Freiburg University, there's some cool stuff there. But anyway.
Well, the body balance is the best one because it actually helps with weight loss, if we can say that. I'm sure we can.
We can.
Because, So you're going to get this, you're going to get the benefit of the quality protein, the benefit of the weight loss, the benefit of being very, very pure, very low allergenic, no gluten or dairy in that at all. And then you're going to add these nuts to it, and you're going to add these fresh, and I'm just going to say frozen berries because you can get mixed berries. So you're only adding.
Sweet.
Yeah. So it's like 4 ingredients, and you blend it up yourself, and you can put nut milk in there if you want, like almond or whatever. It's dairy free, it's sugar free. It's
I haven't. Yeah, it sounds great, Steve. I want one now.
Well, yeah. I mean, and it's like a morning smoothie that I think people should consider because you got to remember, there's, and I don't know, but tens of thousands on the shakes that I showed you. They're big sellers, aren't they? So just going to that next level of doing a little bit yourself, you're going to get vastly more benefit, and I believe that the price will be pretty good too there because the product you're paying for is only like our collagen protein or a collagen protein, and they're pretty cheap per scoop.
The other one, obviously, Steve, that I always worry about with regards to consuming too many meal replacements and not eating enough is mastication.
Yeah.
Like that chewing, saliva, digestion, those sorts of things are important.
It's very important to masticate. It is. Don't press the button.
Yeah. Nice one.
Damn.
Yep. You've been censored, Steve.
Jeez, that's a proper word. Anyway, so the beautiful thing about the berries is you get the polyphenols, you get the antioxidants, and you get lots of ORAC, which is oxidative radical absorption capacity. So it's a perfect antioxidant. Natural fibers.
Yep. Strawberries, blueberries are excellent. Raspberries, if you can get them. You can get boysenberries, but they're a bit expensive. But all those things are fantastic. I'm a huge fan of pomegranate, and throw those in from time to time, especially when you're coming into that season, and even get a little bit of the pericarp pith. Don't be afraid of the seeds, especially if you blend them up, right? Chew them, crunch on them. Your smoothie should be a little chunky, maybe.
You can use any fruit you want or anything fresh. So something fresh is going in there.
Yep.
So that's the key. Now you can add also turmeric and ginger,
of course,
which are great for warming the not physically warming, but giving it the Chinese medicine warmth to it that helps with digestion.
Well, one of the things I was doing a lot, Steve, is using a cold press juice extractor.
Yeah.
So and then adding things like turmeric and ginger into those. Beautiful. Nice and warming. It felt really great. You could throw some non-flavored protein powder in there, like some collagen, unflavored collagen.
Now we have a product time, but we have flavored collagen and we have non-flavored collagen. You could use like a sort of bland flavor, like a vanilla flavor with this, or no flavor at all.
I like no flavor at all. Yeah, that way you don't even taste it. Yeah, but you're getting the benefits of it, and it's not masking the natural flavors of the fruit and vegetables that you're getting.
Berries. So I mean that's our alternative to some of these. Now some of these are just horrific.
Yep.
Have horrific side effects.
Yeah.
Have synthetic vitamins and synthetic sweeteners in there, real bad. In fact, even the better one of this had a synthetic sweetener in there, sucralose.
Yeah. Which we're huge advocates against.
I mean,
we will not use artificial sweet. And again, we've been on this bandwagon for a while. And it's nice, Steve, to finally see the science vindicating after vindication after vindication about synthetic and synthetic sweeteners.
And it's getting serious. You know, in the old days, it was just, it upsets your gut, this artificial sweetener stuff. But now it's increasing, vascular disease. I mean, that's horrific.
Yeah.
That's horrific. I mean, we talked about another segment about strokes and heart disease. So watch for this stuff. And in your at-home one, you won't have it. Ours has no artificial sweeteners, and I have to say, never will it?
No, never.
There's not a plan for one.
Never. So I mean, again, it's how would you say, some things you can go, okay, from time to time, sure, but some things it's like, no way.
It's a no way.
No.
So I mean, that's the story about sort of meal replacements. They work. Unfortunately, papers show they work. And when I say unfortunately, people might go, well, I want a meal replacement because that's and all you do is just substitute your worst meal.
For 80% of the general population, Steve, convenience is king.
Yep.
It really is. And so just make better decisions. And I say the people that we're talking to now, probably of the people listening to this podcast, I reckon 10% would actually be bothered to go out and make their own, because people are busy. They've got life, they've got family, they've got work. I mean, people are just, so again, this is where we might be able to help out with something there too.
Absolutely. It was not for everybody. I mean, it's better not to have any meal replacement. But if you're going to, make your own. That's what I think, because it really is, it's pretty much just as quick. You don't get any of the artificial sweeteners or artificial vitamins and minerals, and you don't get any.
Or wait for ATP Science to make theirs and then use that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then
by the way, we don't have any plan to do it, but I just want to look at it from a cost point of view, Steve, what it would actually look like.
It'd be fascinating. We should do that.
Yeah.
We'll come back with you on the next podcast. But
cool.
But so that's the good, bad, and ugly for the meal replacements.
All right. Yeah. So anything else, Steve-O?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. Make your own if you're going to have one, or just eat real food.
Yep. Real food's good. Portion control is really good. Eating regularly. Get a plan, stick to it. Work with a personal coach. Work with a PT or a nutritionist. Somebody that can hold you accountable. Do it as a family. Make it fun.
Yep.
But yeah, I appreciate these things. Don't change overnight, and there's no such thing as perfection. There's just progress.
Progress is better than perfection.
That's it.
Because you're getting there.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's the lowdown on all this.
Steve-O.
Yes.
We get letters.
I know.
Lots of letters. A love letter?
Yeah, of course.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's a love letter.
No, it's not.
Let's see.
Yeah.
All right. How does it go? So this one's writing. And guys, please send in your questions and get in contact with our team. You can leave questions on YouTube. You can email us at info@atpscience.com. You can talk to our team on the website as well too. But we want to hear questions from you. If you've got health concerns, and we answer them on the podcast. If Steve and I read them out, you're going to get a little
gift.
A gift. There we go. So this one comes from Megaphone 99.
Whoa.
Yeah. And her name is Meg. So Megaphone 99, Meg. Please, if you can jump onto the website or go to info@atpscience.com, the guys are going to send you out a little thank you for this. So this is what Meg said. Love your work. Hi, Steve and Jeff. Love your podcast. And you have really sparked my interest in fueling an all-round healthy lifestyle, not just food alone. I'd love to hear your thoughts on hormonal birth control and the dangers of using them for extended periods of time.
Wow.
Along with the most optimal ways for young females to track their cycles naturally, the best lifestyle exercise regime for different points during their cycle, and how best to support their hormones naturally. There's a lot of information out there, and I'm not convinced the big corporations rolling out these pills have our best interests at heart. Conspiracy theory? Maybe. Love your work, Meg. Well, Meg, we like to say as well too, it's only a conspiracy theory until it becomes a conspiracy fact, and that takes around about 6 months.
6 months.
But in all seriousness though, it's always good to question everything. And I'm tired of these large corporations and politicians saying that we shouldn't question things. Absolutely, we need to question things. And at the same time, so long as it is done well, it's all the information that's coming out over the last couple of years with things that shall not be named, that are now shown to be 100% true. And I mean by that in terms of some of the people that were arguing against the narrative is overwhelming.
It's nuts.
But what I was going to say with regards to that is that we just healthy, respectful debate, Steve, is always good. But Steve, in terms of that with regards to, is there any quick advice that you can give for Meg?
Oh, yeah, do your research because there are different classes of contraceptive pill. And in fact, the modern ones aren't as safe as the older ones.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're very concerned as well too, potentially with those things that go under your skin as well too, Steve-O. What are they called again?
Well, there's lots of different names for them, but they deposit synthetic progesterone in your arms and that sort of thing. IUDs, there's different types. There's hormonal ones, non-hormonal ones usually. And there's also different classes of these. And so the new Yaz's and Diane 35s have more side effects than the second generation pills.
It was a good podcast and we sort of really break that down. So we'll find out, Meg, what that one was for you as well too. But good to hear that you're enjoying the podcast and everything is interrelated with health and diet and exercise. So and again, thank you. Get in contact with the guys and they're going to ship you a little thank you. And this week, doing something a little bit. We do. We've got a lucky subscriber.
Oh, good.
Which I'm never called. I never get lucky. But Andrea Dalton, you are lucky. So if you can reach out again to the guys, jump onto the website and say, "Hey, I'm a lucky Dalton," and we're going to send you out a thank you as well too. Because guys, we need the questions. We want your questions. We love your comments, and I think everybody wants to get lucky.
And if you want to get lucky, hit the subscriber button. I guess that's one way to get lucky, isn't
it? It is.
Andrea got lucky.
I like that. What's that? Colette, you can ring my bell.
Yes.
See? Yeah.
We know that one.
Yeah. But as painful and horrible as iconic for Australian, but ring our bell and push our notifications. Is that what we do? I have no idea what I'm talking about. And drop a like and absolutely, guys, drop a comment too, please. Thank you. Oh, Steve, thank you.
No worries. Thank you.
And thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back next week with some more.
Can't wait.
Okay, bye.